crocheters, how is everybody today? I am here today to show you how to make this really light and airy spring summer scarf, which you can use as an accessory, or if your neck gets a little chilly with air conditioner in the summertime, you can use it for that purpose. In the beginning of this video, you saw a photograph with my mother. I made this specifically for her. The one that my mother had on, that was Yarn Bee Sugar Wheel Cotton yarn. And I used 2 cakes. That turned out to be 5.5 feet long. And I used a little shy of 2 cakes because I color controlled it a little bit. And that was this one. This one, I used this Cotton Supreme, and they're both, I believe, a DK weight, and this one is 230 yards. I used 1 cake, and it turned out to be about 4.5, maybe, 4.5, maybe 5 feet, probably 4.5. Both of them are about 9 inches wide. Okay, so all you have to do for my recommendation, and this is just a recommendation for the yarn, is to use 100% cotton or a cotton blend and a DK weight. It just gives it more of the lacy look and the flow that is meant to be for this particular scarf. Okay, now I just want to explain the stitch multiple because it could be a little confusing. In the pattern, it says stitch multiple is 12 plus 7. Now, typically, that's pretty self-explanatory for most. That just means your chain, the beginning chain, has to be a multiple of 12 plus 7, okay? However, now for the pattern that I did 24 as my multiple of 12 plus 7, and that 8 equals 31. So I chained 31. By doing that, you end up with 2 shells and like a trellis pattern in the middle. And it's anchored by like single crochets at the end here. And then like your chains going up. Okay, so that's 2 shells and a trellis essentially. So if you did 12, you would end up with a lopsided look because you would end up with 1 shell and a trellis on the side. So the only caveat or the catch to this multiple is, yes, technically it's 12 plus 7, but you should really, if you want to make it wider, and again, I would not go with the 12, if you look at the multiples of 12, you have 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, and 72. That's wide enough. So, like I said, you don't want to go with this. This is going to be lopsided. I went with 24, which equals 31 chains. Okay? Don't go with 36, because 36 will be lopsided. You'll end up with 3 shells, and you'll have a shell, a trellis, a shell, a trellis, and then like a shell. Here, I think I have a picture. It's my writing, it's my drawing. I'm not an artist, but this is when I was figuring it out. So if you were to go with the 36, you'd start and you'd have like a single crochet here, and then a shell, single crochet, and then the trellis, a single crochet, a shell, and then the trellis, and then a shell. But because you're supposed to start with a single crochet and end with a single crochet, you wouldn't do that. So it wouldn't come out evenly. It would look uneven. So the next level up, instead of doing 36, would be 48, and then it would be even. You'd have your single crochet in this chain, single crochet in this one, so it's anchored, and then you have a shell, shell, single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, the trellis, shell, shell, and then the bridge connecting the 2 sides. So basically, if you want to make it wider, feel free, but keep in mind, you're going to want to do it either 48 or 72 and just do it that way because the in-between ones will be uneven. So if you were to do the 48, I think it'd be 55. Yeah, so it'd be 48 plus 1 and then plus the 6, so plus 7 equals 55 chains, okay? And if you really want to make it bigger, then you would do the 72 plus 1, 73 plus 6. So you'd have 79 chains. Okay? So either 31, 55, or 79. When you do that, you're pretty much going to just do the repeat. It's just going to be more repeats. So that's if you want to make it wider. I hope I did not confuse you more. But other than that, it's a very simple pattern. All right, so for this tutorial, I'm doing it like this with the 2. So we're going to start with a chain of 31, but I'm going to recommend that you put a stitch marker in your 21st chain that you're making. Oh, I didn't tell you. I'm also using a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook. Again, this is very customizable, so you can do whatever's comfortable for you or however you think it looks best. Okay, we're going to start with a slip knot. Let me just adjust the camera, it keeps falling. Okay, we're going to do a slip knot on our hook. The way I do my slip knot is I just wrap it, kind of like, and just put the tail behind, and then I just grab it. There's a million different ways you can do a slip knot. Okay, so let's chain 31 and put a stitch mark in your 21st chain. Okay, it's my 21st chain. Okay, so I have my 31 chains with a stitch marker in my 21st chain. Now, I usually work into the back bump whenever I do a project. Now, if you're not familiar with that, real quick, the back bump, let's see if I can find my, there it is. Sorry about that. The correct side, or the basic side where you're going to see your chains, is this flat side where you see all these V's, and those are your chains. And if you turn it over, you'll see on the other side, hopefully you can see, there's these bumps. That's just kind of like the yarn going through each chain, okay? Usually I work into that, but this type of pattern, when you do that, this pulls up so much, it makes it look like another stitch, and I don't like it. So what I'm going to do is you could either work through I want you to work through 2 loops. However you do it is up to you. It could be the 2 loops of the V, like under here and under here. I find that to be fiddly. So what I do is I go under this, which would be, I guess you could call it your top part of your V, and then that black bump that I showed you. I go under both of those. So it's kind of just going in the center of your chain, making sure to grab that you're underneath this yarn going through the middle of it. So you go under that and you're catching both. It just makes it a little neater. Okay, that's just a tip, but of course, you do what you're comfortable with. So the reason I had you put a stitch marker in the 21st stitch is because we're going to work a single crochet in the 11th chain from the hook, and it just makes it easier than counting down. So in the chain where you placed your stitch marker, which turns out to be your 11th chain from the hook, you're going to place a single crochet. Now, I normally don't say to pull tight, but make them secure, because this is just a setup row that you're going to end up with a bunch of chain ovals. Okay, next you're going to chain 5. Okay, and then you're going to skip 3, okay, chains. Now be sure, don't count the one that you just single crocheted into, okay? So we're going to skip 3. 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th one, we're going to do a single crochet. Again, being sure to pick up 2 loops there. Okay, and we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, we're going to skip 3. 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th chain, do a single crochet. Chain 5. Skip 3. 1, there we go. 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th, single crochet. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip 3. 1, 2, 3. In the 4th, single crochet. And chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to skip 3. 1, 2, 3. And that should bring you to your last chain. And you do a single, fiddly the last chain. Just making sure I'm getting under 2 loops. And you do a single crochet. Now, if you did not end up even, just go back and count your stitches. First, make sure that you chained 21, put a stitch marker in the 21st, and then chained 10 more to equal 31 total, and put your single crochet where you had your stitch marker, which was the 11th chain from the hook. And you should end up with 6 of these loops, okay? And it's the setup row, okay? We're going to be working into these chain spaces for this for row 1. Now, well, actually, that was row 1. I'm sorry, for row 2, we're going to be working into the chain spaces. This pattern pretty much is setting up a row of chain spaces and then filling the chain spaces, and then setting up a row with chain spaces and then filling them. And that's pretty much it. So row 2, cat hair, we're going to grab some yarn as to not fight with it. We're going to chain 5. Every single row 2, we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to turn our work my hands are so dry, bear with me, because it's horrible. It's terrible. It's the only thing when you work with yarn and you have dry hands. It's just sometimes not enjoyable. Okay, back to row 2. All right, so now, like I said, we're going to be working into the chain spaces, chain 5 spaces. You just chained 5, you turned, and you're going to put a single crochet right in the first chain 5 space. So a single crochet, okay? The next chain 5 space, we're just going to jump right in there and put 7 double crochets. Double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook right into the chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Sometimes the first one going into the chain space is a little fiddly. So just do 7 double crochet all in that chain 5 space. And when you're done, I just recommend counting. Just until you get used to the pattern. Okay. Now, the very next chain 5 space, you're going to put a single crochet. Now we're going to build the bridge, I call it. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then put a single crochet in the next chain 5 space. Okay, we're on the other side of the bridge, so now we're going to do our shell again. The next chain 5 space, do 7 double crochets. Okay, and then the very next chain 5 space, which is your last one, you're going to single crochet. But if this is your last chain 5 space, you're going to do something a little different to end the row. After you make that single crochet, you're going to chain 2. And then only for this first setup row, you have to worry about this. You're going to look where you single crocheted in your first, into your chains, your starting chains, and you're going to just count over 6, and that's where you're going to put a double crochet. So if you look here, this is where I single crocheted into. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right here, I'm going to put a double crochet. The next rows of row 2, you're just basically going to work in the base of the double crochet before, but I'll show you. Oh, I apologize for my cut. I didn't realize how bad that looked. Okay, so that's row 2, and if you look here, really understanding it helps you memorize it, I guess, or get into a flow, a rhythm. So, like I said, the pattern's going to be setting up chain 5 spaces, and then filling them. When you fill them, you're always going to have a shell, and on each side of the shell, you're going to have a single crochet, kind of like anchoring it. Then, after you have your shell and your 2 anchors, then you're going to chain 5, single crochet, and then you're going to just jump right in to the next one, chain 7 double crochet shell, and then you're going to anchor it with the single crochet in the next one. And then the only difference is you just chain 2, and then you're going to do a double crochet to finish it off. And that is row 2, and that will be one of the repeat rows. It'll be row 2 and row 3. But I'll do this a couple of times because we just did this row 2 into the initial setup row of the chain 5. So I'm going to want to show you how to do it going into the next, row 3, which is going to be setting up the chain 5s. Okay, so now let's go into row 3. Row 3 always starts with a chain 6. And you're going to turn your work. Okay, so technically you're going to skip this double crochet you just made, the one that the chain 6 is coming out of. You're going to skip the chain 2 that you made. You're going to skip the single crochet right here that you made. And then you're going to skip the first double crochet of the shell. And you're going to go into that second double crochet and place a single crochet on top of it. Okay? Then you're going to chain 5. After you single crochet in this row every time, after you're going to chain 5. Okay, now you're going to skip the next 3 double crochets. Now here's a little trick, because a lot of times a hard thing with crochet is recognizing your stitches. And I apologize, this yarn isn't the best for it. But here's a trick that I learned into my crocheting that I wish I knew from the beginning. When you're on the right side of your double crochets, like when we were actually working the double crochets, a double crochet, the anatomy of it, if you look here, see if I could zoom in. Okay, this is a double crochet, and the top of it right here, if you're looking, it's like a P. So you go up, and then this is kind of to the right of it. So kind of like up and over like a P. See? Now when you're on the other side of it, when you're working into them, like you are the next row, it's opposite. So the double crochet is a backwards P. So this is the top of this double crochet right here. And then this is the top of this one. I just say that because if by some chance you tend to go into the wrong stitch, that helped me. So when you're working the double crochet, it's a correct P. When you flip your work, it's a backwards P. So what we're going to do, we just single crocheted in the second double crochet here. Now we're going to skip 3. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to single crochet in this one, which is the 6th of the 7th. Okay, so just put a single crochet in the top of the 6th double crochet of the 7. Okay, now you're going to chain 5. Let me back out a little. And you're going to single crochet in the next chain 5. And you're going to chain 5. And again, you're going to skip this single crochet. You're going to skip the first double crochet. And you're going to single crochet in top of the second double crochet of these 7. Then you'll chain 5. And you're going to skip 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. And in this is the 6th of the 7, you're going to single crochet. And you're going to chain 5. And then right here in this last chain 5 space, last loopy here, you're going to put a single crochet. And that's it for row 3. It is your setup row. So now you have 6 chain 5 spaces again. And instead of worrying about counting your stitches and everything, I mean, you still kind of got to count, but for row 3, just remember, after you chain your 6, you're going to single crochet in the second double crochet of the 7. So you're going to basically single crochet in the second one, chain 5, and single crochet in the 6th. So the second and the 6th one will have a single crochet in it and a chain 5. Okay? And then you just, every time you single crochet, you chain 5, single crochet somewhere, chain 5, and then you're back to your shell and you do it. Because sometimes when you have these chain 5s, sometimes if you look real quick, I could see how someone could think, oh, this is a double crochet, and counting this is your second one. No. This is the chain 5. Again, look here, there's really no P. But here's your double crochet, and you're putting it in the second one. All right, so now let's do row 2. These are your repeats, row 2 and row 3, over and over. Row 2 is always a chain 5. And turn. And you're going to single crochet in the very first chain 5 space. And then you're going to jump to the very next chain 5 space and do your shell, which is 7 double crochets. And then you're going to single crochet in the very next chain 5 space. And then you're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And single crochet in the very next chain 5 space. That's the bridge. That's what creates the trellis in the middle. And then you're going to jump to the very next chain 5 and put another shell, 7 double crochets. And then you're going to go to the very next chain 5 space right here and put a single crochet. Now don't get confused and think this is a chain 5 space, okay? That's not. That's where you did the single crochet, chain 2, double crochet in that shell row, and that's what we're going to do here on the shell row. After you single crochet in the last chain 5, you're going to chain 2, and then if you see here, this is the double crochet that you did in that other one. You're just going to double crochet, not, if you pull this, not on the top of that double crochet, but the chain next to it, the chain coming out of that. Okay, and that's row 2 and how it's symmetrical. All right, now hopefully I did not confuse everybody. I'll do a couple more with you, just chit-chatting, and then you guys just keep repeating this over and over and over to however long you want it. Now, I recommend you end in a row 3, which is the chains, because if you look on this end, that's pretty much how this end is. It's just a bunch of the 6 chains, so it's nice the other end to have that as well. Okay, so again, row 3, you always chain 6, and you turn, and you're going to do a single crochet in the second double crochet of the 7, and then you're going to chain 5, and then you're going to skip these 3 double crochets and put a single crochet in the top of that one, which is the 6th of the 7, and then you're going to chain 5, and then single crochet in the next chain 5, and then chain 5, and then put a single crochet in the second double crochet of the shell, and then chain 5, skip the 3 double crochets here, and single crochet in the top of the 6th double crochet of the chains of the 7 double crochets, and then you're going to chain 5 and place a single crochet in the last chain 5 space. And once you get in a rhythm, it really goes very fast. Row 2 is always a chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn your work. Single crochet in the very first chain of 5. Because remember, the shell is going to have a single crochet on this side and this side with no chains in between. And now jump right into the next chain 5 and put your shell, which is 7 double crochets. Okay, then you're going to go to the very next chain 5 and single crochet. And now you're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and single crochet in the next chain 5 space. That's creating your bridge. And now jump to the very next chain 5 and put your shell, 7 double crochets. 3, oops, 3, All right, and after you do those 7 double crochets, you're going to jump into the next chain 5 and single crochet. And to finish this row, you're going to chain 2 and place a double crochet kind of on top of the other one, but not in it, to the next chain over. It's not precise, whatever makes it even for you, like straight there. And that's it. Just keep repeating this. So do you guys watch true crime? I'm addicted to it. I don't know why. It's kind of morbid, but really. And currently, this is an old trial, but it was with, and I'm going to forget his name, Brooks. This was the horrible case in Wisconsin where he ran the car through the Christmas parade. And I believe he killed 6 people and injured so many. It's absolutely horrible. And I heard about it on the news and saw glimpses of it. But watching the trial, hearing like the before story and how he was getting into a fight with his girlfriend, that they were almost estranged, and how he, you know, he wasn't very kind to her. There was a lot of DV. Anyway, the key to this trial that just has captured me is he represents himself and he argues with the judge just like a child. And I say that because I'm watching and he argues the way my 14-year-old argues with me. I'm not even kidding. So if you guys haven't seen that trial, Darrell Brooks, that's his name, Darrell Brooks against Wisconsin. I'll try and put a link down below. I know it's crazy, but just it's really fascinating to watch him argue with her. And what really blew me away is the amount of patience this woman has. It's unbelievable. You have to watch, and you got to watch not a lot, but quite a bit of it to understand her patience, to see, you know, day in and day out, the constant arguing and how she handles it. It's fascinating. So if you guys like true crime and stuff, check it out. So just keep repeating this over and over until it's the length you'd like, and you're pretty much done. Now with my mom's scarf, I did do a border, but I was not happy with it. But I will meet you back here and just briefly explain what I did in case you want to do it. But I like the way it turns out, you know, without it. So that's up to you. But keep going, relax, enjoy yourself. It's pretty easy.
This might answer your question.
Oh.
We Are the Grand is a Chilean band and indie rock
Alexa,
musical
stop.
quartet. The group was formed
Alexa,
in 2000.
stop. I think she's connected to somebody else's because my other son asks questions on his and then this one starts talking to me. A little weird. Okay, sorry about that. So anyway, just keep going, enjoy yourself, relax, make it as long as you want, and I will see you at the end when you guys have yours as long as you want. Okay, so mine, you saw that I had finished mine already, and this was my starting side, and this is how I ended it. Oh, hair. Like I said, I ended it with a row 3 because it matches it. Now, I think it looks completely fine as is. And you saw the picture in the beginning of this full scarf on my mannequin. However, if you want to do somewhat of a border, when you finish your last row, when it's at the length you want it, and you finish the chain, row 3, which is all the chains, and you're going to work down the side. What I do with my mother's is one side I did single crochets pretty evenly, and then I went and I did single crochets on the opposite, on the bottom part of the chain, and then I did single crochets going up, but I did double the amount, and this gave that side a little bit of a wave. And it doesn't have to be precise. It depends how much of a ruffle or a wave that you want. Again, this is optional. Okay, so what I did was I finished, here we go. We did my last single crochet. Now I'm going to just chain 1. And because we're really working into like, kind of like, you know, not stitches around the chains and stuff, I'm going to go back right here into that single crochet, like the side of it kind of. Let me show you. Here it is. And I'm going to go into the side of it here, those 2 loops on the side, and just do a single crochet and then another one. And that just helps with the turn. Okay, so now you have this going down. This is the last row. So this is a single crochet right here, but it's kind of like pulled up. So you have like the chain spaces and then a single crochet, chain spaces, single crochet. So all I did was I did 2 single crochets in these chain spaces in them. I didn't go in stitches, like wrapped around it. 1, 2. And then on the side of that single crochet, because you have these 2 bars, I just did a single crochet. And then I did 2 in here, wrapping it around. And then on the side of this single crochet, I do 1 single crochet. Just got to pull it apart. Okay, and then I do 2 in the chain space kind of. Okay, now this is a single crochet, but it's all stretched out. So I'm just going to put a single crochet, but I'm going to do 3. 1, 2, 3, just to turn. So now I'm working on the bottom. Now you would go down much further. You would just go down and repeat that all the way down your side. And then you're at the chain where you started the whole thing. Now you could either cut your work and then reattach it here, or I actually, gotta pull this. I knew there were 3 chains in between, so I actually went into the chains and just did a single crochet into each one. Okay, and then you're at the bottom of that single crochet that you put in, so that's just going to be 1 thread or 1 strand of yarn, so you do that, and then you do 3, you know, a single crochet in the next 3 chains. And then you're at the bottom of that single crochet. Right there, I'm going to do a single crochet. And you just do that across. It's a little fiddly. I'm going to put a single crochet in the next 3 because those are chains. I apologize. Let me try that again. It's 1 chain, 2. Now in this third one, I'm going to put 3. 1, 2, 3. And that just lets me turn. And now I'm going to be going up the other side. Now you can just repeat it and make it even. So you do 2 single crochets. And this side's, is it different? It is. It's a little different. But I would do 1 and then 1 in here. And then 1. Yeah, and then 1 in here. That's what I would do. So 1 and 1. 1 in the around the chain thing, and then 1 like kind of on the side of the stitch there. It's laying flat. But if you want it to be a little ruffly on the inside, like to lay with a little bit of movement, then you could really just make it as many as you want. Then I would do at least 2, 1, and maybe then 3. 2, 3, and then 1, and then 2, and then 1, and then 3, okay, we're on this, and then 1, and then 2, and then we're going to work into this, like stitch the chain 1, 2 over here. So if you see here, this is a single crochet, 1, 2, 3 chain over from that single crochet. Then you work 3 single crochets, and that's like you're turning. If I could get it in. Yeah, and that's going to bring me to the top. And then how we did the bottom, we're going to do this. You're just going to work so into these chain spaces, just do into the actual chain of the chain spaces. We're going to work single crochets, and then in that single crochet we'll do 1, and then again you're going to have 1. How many chains do we have here? 5. So you're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a single crochet in that single crochet. Okay, and you're going to do that all the way down. Then you're going to do 5 single crochets, single crochet all the way down, and then you're going to join, and that's your border. If you want to do it, it just, you know, gives it a little more to it, a little more dimension. Again, you don't have to. It doesn't make a huge difference. And I apologize, I didn't realize how funky this yarn would look on the screen. But make it. If you make it, please, please, please post a picture on my Facebook group. I'd love to see it. And if you have any questions, my email is always linked in the description box. The last thing I want you to do is get frustrated and not enjoy yourself. If you want to have a copy of the pattern, I'll have a link to that down below as well. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoy making the Lacy Lena scarf, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.